introducing myself. I'm originally from Azerbaijan, and I moved to Japan 6 years ago. And after graduation from Japanese language school, I worked in insurance and real estate industry. And my last job was a tech support in Japanese tech startup. So, okay. So I want to start from prerequisites. Okay, people who know what this is and who actually use it. Okay, I see some hands in the audience, great. Yeah, so a long time ago, in a faraway galaxy, we used floppy disks to distribute information and applications. So basically, you had to go to a store if you wanted to install an application. Go to a store, buy a bunch of floppy disks, and then you install them one by one, and then you have your application. So from a user perspective, that's not that bad because we didn't have wireless network. But if you have these floppy disks, that means that you have the application, you can use it, right? But from our perspective as developers, so imagine that you found a bug in your application, right? And you already shipped all those really awesome floppy disks, right? But then you fixed it, and how can you ship new version? Well, you have to make the floppy disks again and ship them worldwide again. So it's a pain. But nowadays we have these amazing services that we use. As developers, it became very, very easy for us. If you find a bug, you can just fix it and then deploy the new version to the service that you use. And then you have it and your user have it as well. But from the user perspective, unfortunately, if the user doesn't have internet, you can't use your favorite web application, right? So imagine, I know there was a situation where you're in the plane and you're trying to access your favorite application, but you can't. You see this cute dinosaur. It's really cute, but you don't want to show your users this. So how can we overcome this? The most popular answer is, well, okay, let's build a native application. Why not? And by native, I mean mobile application. That's on your mobile phone. And yeah, that might be the solution because they're pretty awesome. They are accessible offline. They have this push notifications, which are great for re-engagement. And according to the latest statistics, they are 16 times more engageable than web applications. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's make a native application. What do we need? Well, we need to learn a programming language. And depending on which platform you want to build your application for, that you have to learn Swift if you want to develop for iOS. You have to learn Kotlin if you want to develop for Android. But you might say, hey, Mini, we have React Native. Why don't we just use that? And we can develop for both platforms. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, that's a solution as well. But what if I don't want to? Is there another way? Well, yeah, if only there was another way for building a web application that our users can use offline, use on their mobile phone, and they will look as pretty as the native. Yes, there is an answer. It's a progressive web applications. So as Alex Russell, who coined this term, once said, progressive web applications are the applications that took all the right pills. What he meant by that is that they have the best of the two worlds. They act like native applications. So the experience is so seamless that the user even cannot tell the difference between two applications. And so I'm going to talk a bit about progressive web applications. So this is what you see is the core principles of PWAs. So I will go through each one. Discoverable. You want your users to find your application, right? How do you do that? You let it be, make it more discoverable by browsers, right? And in PWAs, we have manifest.json that has all the metadata. That's description of your application, the name of your application, and etc. So it makes it really easy to find by browser. Linkable. Well, with web applications, once you have a link, you can just send it to your friend and he opens that link and then he got that application. You don't have to go to an app store, find it there, install, download, etc. Re-engageable. So PWAs actually can have push notifications. They use push and notification API for that. And well, imagine if your user is not using your application now, but then he gets this notification like, hey, we got this new feature. Why don't you go and try it out? And yes, now he uses that again. So pretty awesome. Responsive. Well, every application should look good on any device. It doesn't matter, is it tall, short, is it iPad, iPhone, your computer. So make it beautiful. Safe, well, make sure it uses HTTP, a secure protocol. But, so these principles, applications must have these principles, right? They must be beautiful, they must be discoverable, etc., etc. But I will focus today on the last two, which is installable and network independent, because that's what makes PWAs. Okay. So yeah, I just summarize that. Maybe some of you decided like, I want one of that PWAs. How can I do that? Should I pay someone to make it for me? And no, you actually can make it yourself. And it's not that hard because I could do it. And I'm just a bootcamp grad. Will be soon. Okay, so I have a web application which is basically a currency converter, and it built on React and Express.js, and it makes a API call to the Exchange Currency API. So I'm going to be doing a PWA for this. And now it's demo time. So I'm just going to show you my application. So as you can see, right now it's just a web application. So I'm trying to convert 1,000 Japanese yen into US dollars. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it works. But once I go offline, no, I can't use it. Okay, so how do you make an application installable? You have to have a manifest.json. So it's just a JSON file. It has a metadata about your application. It should be in the root directory. And you don't need to write it from the scratch. You can use tools to generate one. And this is how it looks. So you have your background color, description, icons, etc., etc. But I want you to be very careful about this part, display. So here it's standalone, and sometimes when you use a generation tool, it can be browser. And if you do like that, once you install the application, it opens like a browser link, not as a standalone application. Sure. So be careful about that. And I have the second version of my application, which is installable. I'll show you now. Installable, and now I'm gonna add that to the home screen. Okay. Here it is. Okay, sorry. So, yep. Okay, so the last piece is network independent. And to make our applications network independent, you have to have a service worker. So what is service worker? It's a man in the middle that sits between your application and the network. It listens to events, and depending on the type of the event, it will perform certain tasks. Well, but it's basically just a JavaScript file. It's nothing special, and it runs in the background of your application. So two events that it listens to is install and fetch. So install happens only once when you first install your application. And let me show you. Sorry. So yeah, So this is a service worker. So as you can see, the first part, it's a list of files that I want to cache. So basically, you want your application to remember like all the images and the JS scripts. And then here's the first event that happens, the install. And during that event, you tell it, please cache these files so I can access them when I'm offline. And the last part is fetch. That means that when you have a fetch event, first thing that your application will do, it will check if the request is in the cache, then just return the data that I have in the cache. Don't make a new request, right? But if it's a new, then make a new request and get the data. Okay, and this is the last version of my application, which is installable and offline. Okay, so I'm just adding that to my home screen. Okay, we have it again. Cool, and now I will go offline and see, so I close it and see if I can use it again. Okay, let's see, let's try to convert something into something. I'm probably gonna convert 1,000 dollars into Japanese yen. That's my favorite. Okay, yeah, it works. So basically, I just made a PWA. Really easy. Okay, so I also want to give you one tip. So how many of you used Create React App? Okay, cool. And the image on the right side, it's what the Create React App gives you. So have you ever wondered, like, why the hell does it have manifest.json? Why the hell it has serviceworker.js? Well, because it ships with manifest.json and service worker. And yay, if you use that, you can have your PWA. And you have to register your PWA. So there is a script in your index.js, and you just have to check it to the register instead of unregistered. PWA done. No, actually no. I thought that too, but it's not that simple. So the service worker that sits in the Create React app, it's not a service worker by itself. It just tells the service worker to register one, to find it. And I had this problem actually yesterday. I was trying to work it out. So what I did, I made my own custom service worker, the one I will be registering. And then I put that in my source folder. And after this, I added the following script into my package.json. So, and this is where I want you guys to look at. So what I did, because the service worker that sits in the Create React app, what it does, it just tries to find a file in the build folder. But you get that build folder only after you actually build your application, right? You can't put anything there after. So, and plus, when you build it, change the name. So what I did, after I told my start script that after you build, find this custom service worker and actually take the script from there and put it into the service worker that was built by the Create React app. So I'm going to show you how it looks. So this is my custom service worker. So basically, this is the fetch. So this is the fetch event listener, right? And this is what I got. So this part, everything was made by Create React app after you built. But this part was added by my script. So that's how I made the service worker work and made my application offline. I'm gonna go out today. And so if you don't believe me, after I was talking for quite a while. Believe the companies, because PWAs are really awesome and most companies, they use them and they're still very popular. And there was a news a couple of days before that Microsoft, turned the Outlook into a progressive web app, and because it lets you have a native like app, it has all those cool features, and it's pretty simple to do that. And there's actually, if you scan this QR code, you'll go into the link, or I can just share it with you. So yeah, okay, that was my talk. Thank you very much for listening. And if you scan this QR code, it redirects you to the application, the offline application that's deployed on Heroku. And you can also go into my GitHub repository, which is, that's Minira Engineer, and you can see my repository of PWA and how I built it. Thank you very much.